Story 1. It was just a deep breath. I forgot to breathe enough and needed it. I'm not mad. Story 2. We carry all the groceries at once to display manly strength. No, that's only in the interest of time to quickly get back to the couch, get in the zone, and stare into nothingness. Story 3. This implies that I have any idea what women think. Story 4. Sometimes we are not thinking about anything at all. Story 5. If your boyfriend or husband does not talk as much as they used to, there is a good chance that, at some point, they felt either that they were not being heard or that their input did not matter to you, and the issue was left unresolved. Story 6. From talking to my partner and male friends, 2 things stand out. 1. That they are not unemotional or insensitive. They feel things just as deeply. They do not always show it the same way we do. 2. That they do not dislike receiving compliments. They want to be told they look nice or that they did a good job. Story 7. I had no man training that made me any more capable of figuring out how to fix the garbage disposal than you. Mostly, I look for things I can turn off and then turn back on. Story 8. It does not mean that we want to have sex with them regardless of time, place, or circumstance. We do not go around town trying to sleep with everyone we meet. Story 9. We are seen as weak if we express our emotions. My biggest mistake was telling my childhood trauma to my ex-wife. After that, she stopped respecting me. Story 10. People act like I'm always trying to get laid. I'm married to a gorgeous woman, but I wish she would stop assuming that any time I show physical affection I'm trying to get in her pants. I get sick of stealing a kiss, wrapping my arms around her, and having her push me away while saying she is not in the mood, has a headache, or that it is not tonight. Seriously, I just gave her a kiss. I'm not trying to start something on the kitchen floor while our kids are watching television in the next room. Just let me love her for a second. We've had this conversation a couple of times before, but since our most recent child was born, we haven't gotten back into the groove. Now it's becoming the norm that every sign of affection is assumed to be me trying to get lucky, and it drives me nuts. I want her to know I love her, and it hurts that she assumes there is no other reason for affection. I'm also reaching the point where I don't even bother trying when I actually want to be intimate because I know her default will be to push me away and give a blanket rejection before I can try to set the mood, so what's the point? Story 11. Obviously, it is not directed at all women, but generally people do not believe that men can be raped. I feel trapped. I tried talking to a therapist, and even she suggested a version of wanting it and said it was not really rape. Not to mention the sly comments I hear about how it is different. No, it is not. There are not many outlets for male sexual assault survivors. To clarify, whether or not an erection occurs, sexual assault can happen. The first time I was not aroused. She had a gun and forced me. It hurt, but it was better than dying. The second woman assaulted me when I was aroused. I still did not want it, and she beat me if I did not get an erection and show enthusiasm. Sexual assault comes in all forms, and there is no rule that says we must be fully erect. Story 12. Introversion isn't a defect waiting to be fixed, but a benign social difference. Story 13. I am not interested in harassing you or harming you. I also need to walk in this direction, and I am not happy about it. Story 14. If we are not talking, that does not mean we are thinking about something. Story 15. Yes, this is my son, and I am not fucking babysitting. I am being a father. Story 16. I am not like other guys. Whatever your friend's boyfriend, husband, or brother did has nothing to do with me. I would appreciate it if people stopped generalizing about others, whether men or women. Story 17. Men scare me, especially if they are bigger than me, meaner than me, angrier than me, or if they are in a large group that is rowdy or drunk. Even my friends sometimes try to start problems with me. Strangers are really dangerous, in my opinion. I could not imagine being a woman. I would be so paranoid. Story 18. I want them to stop stereotyping me. I do not drink or care about sports. I am not overtly sexual and could not care less about cars, guns, or similar things. I am aware of my emotions even if I choose not to display them without good reason. Story 19. Calling any illness a pathetic and trifling man flu is nonsense. My spouse, for example, will whine and moan about many things in life, including a relatively mild common cold. I am far more stoic. If I am sick enough to be noticeably below par, struggling with everyday tasks and with streams of mucus, I am not complaining without reason. In fact, I am not complaining at all. I am suffering quietly and patiently until I recover. I do not need any special treatment, and I do not need to be ridiculed by every woman in my life for my man flu. Story 20. We do not want sex all the time. Sometimes we just like to cuddle or pleasure you without reciprocation. Story 21. We cannot read minds. Just like you, we only have direct access to what you share with us. Story 22. Some people always prefer large breasts. We also appreciate smaller breasts. Story 23. We talk about our sex lives with our friends. Most of the time it's just, I ended up going home with that girl the other night, followed by nice or good for you, man. And then the subject changes. It's never about their girlfriend. A number of women, on the other hand, talk about their boyfriend's penis and give intimate descriptions. I've been told it's because they think men talk like this with their friends. It's gross and disrespectful. Story 24. Because I take my daughter to the park or playground alone. Some people assume I must be a creep. I have had the police called on me for taking her to the playground, just the two of us. I have also heard mothers whispering that I should be watched or discussing whether they should ask my daughter if she is safe. Story 25. Stop assuming anything. I'm holding the door for you. I'm saying hi. If I see anyone struggling to lift something, I'll ask if they want help. That doesn't mean they can't do it themselves. Story 26. That I know what you're thinking when you haven't told me. Story 27. They think I am trying to weaponize friendliness to have sex with them. I understand where that fear comes from, but I am genuinely trying to make friends. Story 28. Not every man who asks a woman out on a date secretly has ill intentions or only wants sex. It is not that black and white. Story 29. If a man is trying to be polite and helpful, opening a door for you or offering to help with heavy lifting, for example, it does not mean he is trying to have sex with you or thinks you are weak. Most of the time, he is just trying to be kind. Story 30. I had a woman try to describe what type of man I was. She said she was not going on a date with me because I am a man and I am controlling, manipulative, abusive, and just a mean guy. I want you to know that I had just met this woman. I said, hi, I think you are really pretty, and I would love to take you on a date. She said all that, and I responded that she was completely wrong, that I am none of that, and goodbye, have a good day. Too long. Didn't read. Please do not assume all men or women are the same. Everyone is different. The only thing Jeff down the street and I have in common is that we are men. Story 31. It would be cool if we collectively stopped assuming anything about a person's personality based solely on the equipment they carry downstairs. Story 32. Stop assuming that if I look at you, I am checking you out. I scan my area regularly, especially when new faces appear. I like to keep tabs on the people around me. It is a habit I developed from my job as a security officer. I also like to greet people with a smile because a little positivity goes a long way. I know it does for me when I am feeling down. This sometimes earns me the occasional strange look. Story 33. 1. No, I've chosen you and that means something. There isn't any woman who could undermine what we're building. I believe in us. 2. No, I'm not thinking about anything deep. I'm thinking about a leaf I saw falling from a tree. Do you think it hurts when leaves disconnect from their branches? I bet it does. How do orcas communicate with other pods? Their languages are incredibly diverse. Such smart creatures. Do you think octopuses speak to each other? How? 3. No, I'm not upset with you. I'm just brooding a little and could use a pick-me-up. I think your smile would do the trick. 4. No, my not being in the mood for sex isn't your fault. My head's not right, and it's ruining my mood, which is leading me down a little spiral. I promise you're more than enough. It's me. I'm having difficulty shaking things off. 5. Yes, I have female friends, but I would never betray you. If any of them tried, I would tell you. I have a fantasy of all of us being friends, maybe even a small village for the people we love. I don't know. Dave is good at construction, so maybe it's possible. But who would pay for it? Eh, Not worth it. See item 1. Oh, by the way, Abigail loves that show. Talk to her about it. Save me from her. Story 34. Most of us do not have hidden agendas or double meanings in what we say. 90% of us are straightforward. If you try to read between the lines of what we are saying, you will just make things up. It is true that some men lie, but most of the time if a man says something, take it at face value. Story 35. I think some women view other women as powerful, magical, beautiful, flawed, deep, and incredible, while reducing most men to flat, simple caricatures. Women are not immune to tribalism and dogma, and expressing dislike of men has become socially acceptable. When a woman vents or jokes about men, I have no problem with it, but sometimes it may reflect a genuine bias. Many excuse it by saying that because it is not systemic, they are free to be as disparaging as they want. That kind of online culture likely contributes to young men and teenagers joining the manosphere. Some would go that way regardless, but many would not. It is also unhelpful that pointing this out often leads to accusations of being a men's rights activist or similar. The all-or-nothing, no-nuance mindset is genuinely harmful. Story 36. We are all inherently bad until proven otherwise. Any assumption based on gender is preposterous. Story 37. The idea that sexual harassment or assault by a woman should be considered a compliment is wrong. I once had a coworker grope me twice at work without my consent. Even with consent, it would still be inappropriate. I told a person in a supervisory role, and she laughed in my face, calling it one of the funniest things she had ever heard. She said she could not imagine that coworker doing such a thing and told me I should be proud to have an attractive butt for her to grab. As others have mentioned, sexual misconduct against men is not taken seriously enough. If a man confides in you about being sexually mistreated, please do not laugh at him or tell him to take it as a compliment. Story 38. We care. Just because we don't have the same reactions as you and don't talk about it all the time does not mean we care any less. Story 39. I wish they could see that some men appreciate their beauty but do not want to touch them, smell them, or even see them for too long. Yes, you did that today. You put that on. Now let us go about our separate business. I laughed. Story 40. The fact that we like fake buttocks looks gross. It gives uncanny valley vibes and is just not right. Story 41. We are not mind readers. Do not jump to conclusions about everything that moves. 2 examples come to mind. Story 42. That I am not to be trusted with anything involving children, or that I am somehow creepy for doing things with them, such as taking my nephew to the playground. Story 43. The belief that every single thing we do is an attempt to have sex with you is often not the case. This stereotype has been perpetuated by women applying it to all men. I once knew a mother of 4 who had separated from her partner. He was a piece of work, but she was in a panic about rent and groceries. I offered to help by paying for her groceries and contributing to rent until she could stand on her own 2 feet. She refused and told me that if I showed up with groceries, she would throw them away and that my effort to sleep with her was disgusting. That was not the case. I had known her since before her children were born. I grew up without many things and know what it is like to go without. I was helping them. She believed so strongly and was so done with dating and everyone that she ended the friendship and told people I had tried to take advantage of her. Now I am an asshole in everyone's eyes and have lost more friends. I even developed a nasty reputation. She was out for blood because of this. As a result, for as long as I live, the thought of helping anyone in this way will never be an option. The only reason anyone believed it is beyond me. No one asked me a single question. It has been over 10 years now. No, I still will not help anyone, which also makes me an asshole. Story 44. We may think we want to change for someone else, but if we change, we do it for ourselves. Do not force it. It will not work and will end in a broken relationship. Story 45. Men must always assume responsibility for anything that goes wrong in the relationship. Story 46. People assume that if I'm out with my children, I'm babysitting. I'm their father and a capable parent. I can make decisions without her present. Story 47. They think I am a danger to them. I understand why they are cautious with men in general, but I wish they did not treat me that way. Story 48. Stop assuming that I am flirting with you just because I initiated a conversation. Story 49. I like to do the work she does not want to or cannot do. I do not like mowing the lawn, but you will not learn how to start the mower, nor can you push it with any strength, so I do it. Story 50. We are not here to replace your ability to emotionally regulate, to pay for you, or to do things for you. If you do not like us for who we are, you do not actually like us. Story 51. Men shouldn't always be expected to step outside their natural way of talking and listening. Sometimes we prefer problem solving, not just emotional talk. It should be about mutual compromise, not only men changing for women. Story 52. They think that if we are not doing the task they thought of 13 seconds ago, we are doing nothing. Story 53. Men are not going to chase them. Most men are done with that and with the assumption that they are supposed to pay for meals and drinks every time. Story 54. All men want is sex? No, many men want sex, but there is a difference. They act as if we are not supposed to want it. Story 55. Physically unattractive men do not get body shamed or feel unhappy about their looks. Story 56. We should support you at your worst to deserve you at your best. Story 57. We do have trauma, but most of us will not talk about it. I am sure every man here has this exact story. You tell a girlfriend or wife about something traumatic that happened and maybe choke back a few tears. From that moment, she sees you differently, does not respect you, and thinks you are weak. She eventually leaves or emotionally abuses you. It is so common that my friend group joked about it every time someone was dumped. Story 58. Just because we are being polite and engaging with you does not mean we are trying to sleep with you. Sometimes we are simply being polite. Not all men are slaves to their sexual urges. Story 59. They only want to have sex with women. I have turned women down, been called names, and been blocked on Instagram because they shot their shot. I told them I was taken and that she appears in my bio and pictures. It would be nice to have female friends, but alas, it is not to be. Story 60. We do not notice vague or useless signals you use to show you are interested. Signals from women are usually noticed only by other women. So I hope you are attracted to women. If you are not direct, it will not happen. Story 61. Just because we do not always show our feelings does not mean we do not feel deeply or become easily hurt. Story 62. All we want is sex. Sometimes I want to be left alone while sharing space. Sometimes I want to cuddle with you. And sometimes I just want to sleep. Story 63. Some people assume that men like to chase women in the dating world and that it is fine for women to sit back and wait for men to make the first move because men do not like women who are forward. I think most straight single men would welcome being asked out by a woman. Many of us have never experienced that. Either we make all the moves or we do not get to date. It is really tiring at times. Story 64. Not all of us are willing to face 5 or 6 home invaders alone with a baseball bat. We didn't all attend the Jackie Chan School of Home Defense. Story 65. The kind of car you drive indicates something about the size of your penis. Story 66. We are all automatically considered dangerous predators unless proven innocent. Story 67. When a male friend falls in love, it does not mean he planned it all along and pretended to be a friend just to sleep with the person. Most of the time, it is not an evil plan. He genuinely wanted friendship and, over time, developed feelings. This is more common than people think. Story 68. When some people insist that all men must be strong, both physically and mentally, they expect any task that is even slightly heavy to be done by men. As a man with a physical disability, I have always hated when women assign painful physical tasks to me because they refuse to do them and say that as a man I have to. Story 69. Your life is easy because you are a man. No, it is better in some ways and worse in others. Story 70. God, this thread is a pity party. Can we not just make jokes and bury our emotional trauma like real men? Sarcasm. Story 71. People claim that they are all or mostly predators and rapists. It has reached the point that they are afraid to speak to a woman first because they do not want to be accused of anything. Story 72. Just because I think you're hot and attractive does not mean I want to fuck you. Story 73. We are told to just deal with anti-men jokes and expected to put up with them because, in my experience, we get criticized for calling them out. Story 74. If a man is not opening up to you, it is not always his fault. You have probably given him a reason to feel unsafe about being vulnerable. Story 75. Lord, help, but this is a good old-fashioned stereotype circle jerk. I can only speak from my experience, so I cannot generalize for men. Because of my lived experience that I am describing, I have to frame it in a way that generalizes and call it woman. Is this post just driving a wedge to widen an already immense void between genders, which is a whole other subject in itself? I know we all know gender is a spectrum. I am definitely not knocking it, but I can see where people get the idea that these sorts of conversations help breed toxic masculinity and exclusion. But they also make everybody think, so that is good. I am really enjoying this thread. It is important to have these kinds of conversations and to get feedback from people from all walks of life. The internet is beautiful, but it is also very scary. Story 76. If I'm being nice to you or trying to talk to you, it's not because I want to get into your pants. I find you interesting to talk to. It's the equivalent of, just because a woman smiles at you, it doesn't mean she wants you. She is being polite. Story 77. I speak for myself, not for all men, but I would appreciate it if women stopped dropping hints and instead told us directly what they want. We do not always understand hints, no matter how obvious you think they are. Story 78. Some people think that all we want from a woman is sex. Some of us love good old-fashioned cuddling in front of the television with wine. Story 79. I am not okay with princess treatment for sex. No, princesses belong in a guillotine, and I want love as an equal. Story 80. Not every guy is trying to get into your pants. Most of us are just trying to get by in life. Story 81. I was expected to be a problem solver, a copy of Superman at all times. My ex thought she had been robbed and involved me to resolve it. Seriously, no mockery. Some people do not need boyfriends. They need psychologists or a serious psychoanalyst. Story 82. People say that putting furniture together is like playing Lego. Do I get a sense of satisfaction from assembling something? Yes. Is it as fun and relaxing as playing with Lego? Often not. Do I need a break after assembling furniture because I have just done manual labor? Often yes. But because people assume I am having fun, they often do not think of it as a chore. Story 83. To be honest, there are not really any assumptions I blame them for, except the belief that men only care about looks and want women who look like supermodels. Men have very diverse standards of beauty, especially compared with women, from what I have observed. Story 84. I cannot speak for all men, but I certainly feel that many men have been seriously damaged by the horrible things a minority of men do, especially high-profile men who have abused their power. It has had a hugely detrimental effect on my confidence. I generally avoid complimenting women because I do not want to risk being seen as dangerous. I would love to be more outgoing, but I would rather be seen as cold than dangerous. It is very isolating to be constantly on guard about what you say or do. That is not to say some men are not dangerous. They are. I wish they would stop making it harder for the rest of us. Edited to add for clarity. I understand the need for distance and caution around men. Enough men are dangerous that it is sensible to be cautious. The question asked what we wished, so I wish they did not have to be. Story 85. We sometimes think of something and sometimes of nothing. Story 86. Many minor things I do or say do not have complex thought behind them. Sometimes just doing is as fast or faster than pondering how to do something. I also sometimes sit in silence. Think of it like a cat. I lazily half close my eyes, stare, and enter a meditative state. Lastly, do not try to read into what I say. For example, when you show me a lot of text you wrote and I reply, "Wow, that's a lot of text," I literally just mean that. Story 87. Seeing a picture of someone's wiener is not an automatic turn-on. Your wiener does not possess that kind of magic. Story 88. I'm looking at you because I want to fuck you. It could just as easily be the booger hanging out of your nose or your terrible fashion sense. Story 89. A man's looks are often taken as a reflection of his behavior. This is stereotyping. I am mixed race, muscular, square-chinned, and have a resting bitch face. When women who do not know me meet me, they are often surprised that a sensitive, neurodivergent man can have such a physical appearance. Often that surprise becomes disappointment, probably because they are attracted to the idea that I am a traditional man based on my appearance. I read literature and love cooking. I am quirky in ways associated with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and autism, and it still surprises women that a man can behave this way while meeting traditional standards of masculinity. Conversely, a man may not look masculine, yet that has no bearing on who he is inside. It is hard to find women who are attracted to alternative forms of masculine energy when most stereotype me based on my appearance. Story 90. They say we are your enemies. We are just trying to get through to the next day like you. Story 91. Assume nothing. If you want to grow something real, abandon all preconceived notions and let their actions and words speak. Story 92. This doesn't apply to everyone, but I'm not criticizing what just happened because you're a woman. I'm criticizing you because you suck at your job. Story 93. I wish women would begin to understand that men are human beings with hearts and brains. It infuriates men that women tell them what they are allowed to think, say, and do, no matter how hypocritical. A clear example is how women promoted social movements such as no body shaming and no fat shaming while tens of millions of women go online and insult and berate men born shorter than 6 feet. Unlike body weight, height is something a person cannot control, and many of these comments are cruel and dehumanizing. Part of the reason some women struggle to understand why some men do not find overweight women attractive is a failure to recognize that men also have feelings and preferences. Many women understand that most women do not find short men attractive, yet demonize men for not finding an excessive amount of body fat attractive, as if the two are mutually exclusive in a discussion of human instincts. It is disgusting how many women cannot look at men and recognize that they are human, with instincts like women. Everything men do that does not benefit women is labeled toxic and disgusting. This is a form of dehumanizing men. Story 94. We are always going to pay for your fucking dinner. How about you pay for ours? Story 95. Assuming it's okay to treat us like trash, to use us as utility objects and as automated teller machines to lie, cheat, and steal, and that we are supposed to be okay with their bad behavior for some reason. Story 96. Being friendly toward you does not mean I am hitting on you. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.